I'd like to have a conversation with you guys today about meditation and how meditation can be used to combat stress and anxiety that comes from your life, whether it be stress and anxiety from your work or stress and anxiety at home or with family and friends. Meditation is a practice that you can use that can help treat that stuff. And how I stumbled across this was I was actually doing research on samurai. And if you don't know what a samurai is or need your memory refreshed, basically what a samurai is that if you think of the Old English knight, that's kind of what they resemble. They were the Japanese version of a knight, and these were centuries ago. Uh, that these samurai were basically personal military bodyguards of whoever the emperor or the king, or a lot of times they were called shoguns, who the shoguns were at the time in Japanese government. And it spread across the landscape as far as geopolitical positions. That not every people of lower rank than a shogun would have samurai. Lords of certain provinces and land would have their own samurai. So there was different clans of samurai, and because of those different clans, there was different political views and different thoughts about how the kingdom should be run. So there was conflict. So samurais basically fought it out about every single day with one another. And these guys were the most elite of the elite, the special forces of the Japanese military, basically. So they would be locked in combat with one another every day, and you got to imagine that that's got to bring about some stress, some anxiety, some depression, because not every fight goes well. And what I found is that the samurai would meditate before a duel, or if it was a larger scale conflict, before a battle of these two armies. And in this meditation practice, they would center their thoughts, and they wouldn't allow their thoughts to drift too far in the past, from where maybe they didn't perform as well as they wanted to, or I just barely survived that sword fight yesterday. I hope I'm on my game today. And then again, not to let their thoughts drift too far into the future. And the future being, I sure hope I live through this battle today, or I hope that guy over there is not as well trained as I am, or I hope mistakes happen. So it would get rid of the anxiety, the thought of it, and keep their minds, and what the Tibetan monks would say, keeping their minds centered and to be mindful and self-aware of where they were at, so that they could perform with laser-like focus, not to have these other thoughts floating around their head that would distract them, and they wouldn't be at their top of the game. Because if they're getting ready to lock swords with another guy who does the same thing they do for a living, they got to be at the top of their game. Meditation is still used today. A lot of doctors will prescribe it to their patients as an alternative form of medicine. So instead of prescribing them antidepressants or some other kind of medicine, they will recommend that you try meditation out. Allow yourself to breathe and to sit in a quiet space and just to turn everything else off and to disconnect and to really get inside your head and just relax. And it's been proven that it helps treat anxiety, it helps treat depression, it helps treat emotional issues, a lot of chronic pain in these studies. One study that I can recall from the Harvard School of Medicine, they did a study and a lot of chronic pain went down by several, and the class number, more than half of them saw a reducement in chronic pain, heart disease, over a period of trials, whatever, for years. It showed that heart disease was less in patients that meditated. So we have centuries old evidence that meditation has been around. One of the most recent famous practitioners of meditation that I have found was Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was a famous martial artist who traveled the world as a martial artist and eventually came to America and become a movie star. He did a couple movies from where he lived at before, and over in Asia, but he came to America and become a very famous movie star. And during his time here, he opened up a few dojos and taught to his students. And one of the things he taught to his students was mindfulness and meditation. And he basically described it to be like water, to allow your thought process to be like water. So if you have to take the water and pour it into a vase, the water becomes a vase. If there's a rock in the way and the water hits the rock, instead of just pounding it, the water finds a way and goes around. So you basically take your thoughts and adapt them to whatever the process or whatever challenge or trial you're going through at the time, and use that mindfulness and use that self-awareness that comes from meditation to overcome these obstacles, to be stress-free, not to hit the rock and just keep hitting it, to find a way around it. So that a lot of these students testified to the fact that their nerves before a fight or after a fight, their ability to handle stressors outside of the dojo in regular life greatly benefited from meditation. And that is what I have found, and I'm a practitioner of it myself, and I've also found that it's been very beneficial in my ability to handle stress, and to the focus that comes from a place like focus is beneficial for what I do for a living. So I strongly urge you guys, everything I told you about, to look into meditation, try it out. It only takes 5 minutes a day to sit and breathe, and see how it goes for you.